The moment the calendar shouted December 1st, something entered Madame Belladonna's body like spiritual currents. Her eyes brightened, her voice changed, her walking steps became faster, and suddenly she started behaving like someone appointed as Minister of Christmas clothes and festive shakara affairs. Every morning, she would wake up before the rooster, stand in front of her small mirror, adjust her wrapper like a runway queen and whisper, "This year, my enemies will know that I am still their mother." Her husband, Mr. Titus Olorunda, a calm man with a patient spirit, would quietly tie his shoe and pretend he did not hear because he already knew December turned his wife into somebody else entirely. She was normally loud but manageable. However, once the Harmattan breeze blew and Christmas songs started playing, her brain would start singing, "Buy clothes or die trying." In their neighborhood, everybody knew her madness. Even the neighbors' goats avoided her because she once told it, "Move, you don't know fashion." Belladonna was obsessed, no, possessed by clothes. She believed Christmas was not for eating or resting. It was for slaying matching outfits, expensive lace, designer shoes, and family photos that made you look richer than your entire generation combined. Meanwhile, Titus had only one worry, money, and the money was not moneying. He worked in a small printing shop where the boss promised salary on the 25th, but usually paid on the 31st because you know the economy now. The rent was waiting, school fees were warming up, food prices were jumping like popcorn, and January, which normally had 31 days, usually behaved as if it had 62 days. One evening, as they ate rice without chicken, because chicken was expensive, Titus cleared his throat and started the discussion slowly. "Belladonna, this Christmas, we will manage what we have. The children's clothes from last year are still fine. Your dress is fine also. My shirt is fine. Let us use what we already have." Belladonna dropped her spoon dramatically, as if he said she should drink kerosene. She opened her mouth like a broken cupboard. "Manage?" Titus nodded slowly. "Yes, manage." Belladonna touched her chest. "Titus, are you trying to kill my social life? You want people to be discussing me behind my back? Do you want Mama Dorcas to say I am suffering? Christmas comes only once a year. Why should my enemies see me repeating clothes?" Titus sighed deeply and begged her again, using a soft voice like a teacher calming a stubborn child. "Please, let us be wise. Money is tight, and you know January will be long. Let us behave ourselves." Belladonna smiled sweetly, too sweetly. In fact, suspiciously sweetly, the kind of smile that meant she had heard him, but she would still do what her spirit wanted. "No problem, my husband. We will manage." She said it calmly, but in her heart she was shouting, "Over my dead body," because Belladonna had a personal rule. "Even if I don't have food, I must have clothes. The clothes can console me." And from that night, the madness started brewing. She began scrolling through online shops like someone in a trance. She saved pictures of lace that cost more than her rent. She checked Ankara styles with 50 yards of fabric. She checked children's designer shoes that glittered like disco ball. And as she scrolled, she whispered, "My family must shine like Christmas star. We cannot enter church looking like fifth-hand cotton." She even started measuring her children secretly while they slept, so Titus wouldn't suspect anything. Her daughter woke up once and screamed, "Mommy, why are you tying tape on my leg?" Belladonna whispered, "I am checking your future. Sleep." Then, just like Eve and the serpents, Belladonna met Akwasi, the credit seller, a man known for his sharp mouth, sharp calculator, and sharper memory. He could forget his own birthday, but not his money. That afternoon, he passed their compound with bags full of beautiful clothes, shoes, and wig. Belladonna's eyes locked on him like a magnet. He smelled like the devil selling discounts. "Madam Bella, come and see Christmas clothes, so take them now, pay after Christmas. Small payments is allowed." Belladonna trembled like someone receiving a prophecy. He continued sweetly. Your family will shine. People will talk. Everybody will admire. You can pay later. Belladonna's entire spirit left her body and came back. She waved her hands. Let me see them. And that was how she entered the temptation. Well, she didn't even just buy one. She didn't buy two. She bought matching family Christmas outfits, 3 children clothes each, wig that looked like imported mermaid hair, glittering shoes, and even sunglasses for picture effects. She bought the clothes worth a full month's salary. Unfortunately, Belladonna didn't care. She was floating in excitement. She hugged the clothes like a treasure and whispered, December will fear me this year. She smuggled everything inside the house like a criminal transporting contraband, hid them inside Ghana must go bags under the bed, and walked around smiling with pride. The children asked, Mommy, why are you smiling like that? She replied, Mind your business. You will soon see wonders. And so the countdown to Christmas began. December 24th came early, stretching its shoulders as if it purposely came to scatter somebody's life. Before the sun even opened its eyes fully, Madame Belladonna had already swept the compound 4 times, washed the children's teeth twice, ironed imaginary clothes, and checked the Ghana must go bag under her bed at least 6 times to be sure the Christmas outfits were still there and had not grown legs to walk away. She could not sit still. Excitement was jumping inside her body like a premium malaria parasite mixed with sugar. She kept smiling suspiciously at her husband, Titus, who was still thinking about Christmas rice, chicken, soft drinks, and how they would manage January. Around 8 a.m., Belladonna decided that the time had come. She locked the door, dragged out the big Ghana must go bag, opened it slowly like a treasure chest in an adventure movie, and arranged the clothes on the bed with pride shining in her eyes. She called the children with a voice that had too much drama. Junior, Favor, Mimi, come and see Christmas miracle. The children ran in like excited goats, and the moment they saw the clothes, they screamed like people who want scholarships to Canada. Wow, Mommy! New clothes, new shoes, new sunglasses! They jumped on the bed, hugging everything and rolling on the lace gown that cost as much as their rent. Belladonna was smiling like someone who just bought the future. She even fanned herself with the children's new socks. Then Titus entered. He froze. He blinked. He checked the room number to be sure he entered the correct house. Then he whispered, Belladonna, where did all this come from? Belladonna did not even allow him to finish the sentence before she raised her hands to heaven and shouted, My husband! A miracle happened. Titus' eyebrows touched each other. What miracle? Belladonna placed one hand on her chest dramatically like a Nollywood auntie giving testimony in church. Somebody blessed us. This Christmas, God said we will shine. He brought these clothes to wipe away our poverty tears. Titus squinted his eyes. Somebody? Who? Belladonna smelled the smile of someone who was manufacturing lies right there, live and direct. A friend. She doesn't want her name mentioned. She said God told her to bless us. Titus looked at the children, at the clothes, at the wig shining like an imported mermaid hair, then back at Belladonna. Belladonna, be honest. Did you borrow these clothes? Belladonna placed a finger on her tongue as if she wanted to swear, but changed her mind halfway. Borrow kwa? Over my stylish dead body. My enemies will faint this Christmas. We will look like royalty. Titus sighed. Something didn't add up, but he did not want trouble. It was Christmas Eve after all. So he decided to trust his wife because what else could he do? He was tired of stress. Meanwhile, Belladonna was already planning her Christmas Day entrance like an international superstar. She rehearsed poses in the mirror, practiced slow motion walking, and even coached the children. When we are entering church, all of you must walk gently, no running, no scratching body, and smile. Let the angels envy us. The children nodded like soldiers receiving orders. She later stepped out of the house to fan herself and pretend to be humble, while secretly waiting for neighbors to admire her clothes. Mama Dorcas passed by and her scream echoed inside the compound. Aye, see Christmas clothes, you people will slay. Belladonna smiled like someone being worshipped. However, while all this was going on, Akwasi, the credit seller, was sitting in his shop, pressing calculator with the anger of 10 accountants. He counted 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weeks. 4 weeks to wait before I collect my money. He hissed so loudly that even his ancestors heard. I have changed my mind. Today, I will collect my money by fire by force. He gathered 2 assistants with strong chests and strong voices, and they rehearsed their entrance like a military operation. No mercy, she must pay today. By 6 p.m., Titus returned home carrying his December paycheck, smiling because he wanted to buy chicken. They would cook stew and maybe even fry plantain. He would make sure his children enjoyed Christmas. Belladonna welcomed him like an angel of joy, dancing and shaking her wrapper. But just as soon as Titus sat down, they heard a sound at the door. Boom, bang, bang, bang. The knock did not sound like ordinary knock. It sounded like IRS, mixed with police, mixed with angry landlord. This was the kind of knock that makes the heart jump out of the body. Titus looked at Belladonna slowly. Belladonna looked at Titus slowly. The children hid behind chairs. Akwasi and his debt-collecting squad stood at the door like avengers from Ghana. Akwasi lifted his voice. Madam Belladonna, we have come for our money. The knock came again louder. Bang, bang, bang. Then another voice followed, a voice that had no respect. Belladonna, open this door before we open it ourselves. And right there, their Christmas began to scatter. Titus rubbed his forehead slowly and turned his head like a slow-moving robot to face his wife. Belladonna, what is going on? Before she could manufacture story part 2, the door burst open and Akwasi, the credit seller, marched in with 2 muscular assistants who looked like they were carved from pure frustration. Akwasi wasn't smiling, not even small. His face was squeezed like someone smelling rotten fish. Good evening, we are here for the money. Titus blinked. Money for what? Akwasi threw his hands dramatically like an actor in a Ghanaian telenovela. For the Christmas clothes your wife bought on credits, expensive ones, imported ones, matching family sets, leather shoes, lace, wig, stockings, all of them, pay now. Titus stood still. He did not blink. He did not breathe. He did not even move. He simply replayed the sentence in his head like a WhatsApp voice note. Christmas clothes your wife bought on credit. Slowly, he turned to Belladonna, who was already shrinking like dried leaf, with her hands on her chest, as if something was dragging her throat. Belladonna, tell me this man is lying. Belladonna opened her mouth, but no words came out. Only hot air escaped like a balloon. Akwasi clapped sharply. My brother, she's not deaf. The total is 4,280 cedis. Bring the money now. Titus felt his spirit left his body, checked the situation from outside, and then returned with disappointment. 4,000 what? One of the debt collectors added confidently. 0.80 pesewas. As if that was the important part. Belladonna finally found her voice. Titus, my husband, please, let me explain. Explain what? Titus exploded. Akwasi, who was not interested in any family drama, pointed to the Ghana must go bag. If you don't pay now, we will collect these clothes back. All of them, including the children's socks. Bring them out. The children screamed, no, not our Christmas clothes. Belladonna grabbed the bag with both hands, hugging it like a baby. Please don't touch the clothes. They are brand new. We must slay tomorrow. The neighbors began gathering at this point because where there is noise, there is free entertainment. Mama Dorcas, the unofficial CCTV of the compound, stood at the doorway with her arms folded. Hey, today we will see Christmas. Titus turned to Belladonna slowly, shaking with anger. So, you went behind my back, bought clothes on credit and lied it was a miracle? Belladonna stammered. My husband, I just wanted us to shine small. People are watching us. Titus threw his hands in the air. Let them watch your stupidity. Mama Dorcas shouted from outside. Yes, so we are watching live. Titus paced the room like a lion in a cage, rubbing his head, sweating, thinking of rent, thinking of school fees, and thinking of January hunger that bites like a stubborn dog. Akwasi tapped his foot impatiently. Mr. Man, where is the money? Titus froze. His December paycheck. His only Christmas hope. His January survival. Slowly and painfully, he walked to where he kept the envelope. His hand shook as he opened it. Belladonna cried loudly, begging, kneeling, holding his leg and his trousers, holding everything she could hold. Titus, please, don't finish the money. Please, I am sorry. But she was the one who opened the gate for trouble. Titus handed the entire money to Akwasi, who counted it faster than a calculator. When he finished, he nodded. Balance correct. Merry Christmas. He turned and walked out like a death angel of destruction. The compound was silent. Titus stood in the middle of the room, looking empty. Belladonna knelt, crying as if someone was peeling onions inside her heart. The children stared at the ceiling, wondering why their lives were behaving like a Nigerian movie. Finally, Titus spoke. Very good. So tomorrow we'll wear expensive clothes, but no rice, no chicken, no drink, no nothing. Belladonna wept. I am sorry. I am sorry. Titus shook his head. No need. It is not in my place to judge December pressure. The neighbors dispersed to go and gist properly, while the family went to bed hungry. Hours later, Christmas morning arrived with full brightness. The birds were singing and children were shouting in excitement everywhere. But inside Belladonna and Titus' house, the atmosphere was darker than a storeroom during power outage. Hunger was sitting on one chair, shame was sitting on another, and regret was lying comfortably on the floor fanning itself. Still, the clothes had to be worn because money had already died for them. By 7 a.m., Belladonna pulled out the matching outfits with the weakness of someone carrying an emotional load. She ironed them heavily, pressing the clothes as if she was trying to iron out her mistakes. The children were excited, jumping around, completely unaware they were dressing up for a hunger parade. Junior shouted, Mommy, see, I look like a prince. Favor twirled in her lace gown. Auntie Dorcas will fear me today. Belladonna forced a smile, but inside her stomach was singing pa 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 like a talking drum at a funeral. Titus dressed in silence, slowly buttoning his shirt like someone attending court for a crime he didn't commit. When he looked at himself in the mirror, he sighed deeply. Fine boy, empty pockets. Belladonna planned to wear makeup, but her tears from the night before had swollen her face. Still, she dusted powder anyhow and told herself, even if I am dying, I must be fine on the outside. By 8:30 a.m., they stepped out as a family unit in matching clothes, shining shoes, coordinated colors, and hungry faces disguised with fake smiles. Immediately they stepped out of their door. Mama Dorcas shouted, Aye! See elegance! You people are matching! Another neighbor added, Money is talking. God is good, oh. Titus almost fainted, while Belladonna laughed awkwardly. We thank God! We thank God! But in her mind, she cried, if only God would hide me in his armpits until today passes. They walked to church like a slow-moving royalty, holding their bellies so hunger would not embarrass them on the way. At the church entrance, one usher screamed, Wow! Family goals! Another one whispered, Eish! Money dey their house. But only God and Titus knew the truth. There was not one grain of rice waiting for them at home. As they sat down, their stomachs started singing the national anthem. We are hungry, we are hungry. Favor asked, Daddy, what are we eating after church? Titus looked straight ahead, blinking slowly like a robot malfunctioning. Ask your mother. Junior asked, Mommy, what will we eat? Belladonna answered without blinking, Holy Communion, we will collect 2. Meanwhile, the pastor was preaching about joy, but Titus couldn't focus. Every time the pastor shouted, Hallelujah! Titus heard his lost paycheck. Belladonna couldn't focus either. Every time the pastor said, "Rejoice," she remembered the money she wasted and wanted to remove her wig to cry. After service, as families took pictures rushing to go devour the chicken and jollof waiting at home, the Olorunda family took pictures and walked sluggishly to go meet the Gari waiting for them at home. When they got home, Titus entered the kitchen, came out holding a bowl of plain Gari and water and announced, "Merry Christmas, my dear family." The children looked confused. "But Daddy, where is the rice and chicken?" Titus calmly said, "Your mother has eaten the rice." Belladonna screamed, "Which rice? Me? Rice?" Titus looked at her slowly. "You used rice money to buy wig, right?" The children gasped. Belladonna carried her face with both hands. They sat around the table, all of them wearing expensive lace, glittering shoes and matching outfits, but drinking Gari with no sugar. Neighbors walked past their windows smelling of fried chicken and meat pie, while the Olorunda swallowed silence and shame. Even the Gari looked embarrassed. The youngest child, Mimi, tasted the Gari and whispered, "Mommy, this Gari tastes poor." Titus stood up and left the table before he would say something that would send him to prison. Belladonna wanted to cry, but she drank her Gari instead because tears could not fill the stomach. The entire compound talked about their outfits. Nobody even talked about their hunger because nobody knew what went on behind the scenes. And that evening, when Belladonna removed her clothes and folded them, she realized something foolish. I suffered all this emotional damage for clothes people only admired for 2 minutes. Meanwhile, January was already waiting outside the door, sharpening its cutlass because after Christmas Gari comes 62 days of January Shege Construction Limited, and the Olorunda family was about to receive a full contract. Exactly a week after Christmas, January entered like a stubborn landlord, loud, unapologetic and ready to collect everything. While other families were still posting Christmas pictures with leftover chicken stews, the Olorunda family was doing prayer and fasting by force, not because they planned it, but because there was simply no food to eat. School resumed on the night, but the school fees were still sitting inside the principal's office waiting for them. Titus' transport money finished by the 5th of January. Belladonna had stopped joining compound gossip meetings because she knew the entire neighborhood saw her family drinking Gari on Christmas Day. Every morning, she woke up and prayed, "God, carry me through this month. January is doing too much." She began walking careful in the house as if hunger was chasing her. One morning, Titus was ironing his shirt quietly when the iron suddenly stopped making heat. It meant that light units had finished. Titus looked at the iron, then at the ceiling and shook his head. "So you two want to disgrace me?" He dropped it and sighed. They now cut soap into 2 pieces so it would last longer. The children carried leftover cabin biscuits to school as lunch. Titus trekked to work on some days because there was no transport fare. Belladonna now counted beans as if she wanted to do lottery. Everything was tight. On the 12th of January, the children's school sent a letter home like a threatening spirit. If school fees are not paid, children will sit outside and watch the class through the window. Belladonna nearly fainted. She looked at Titus with fear in her eyes. "My husband, what do we do?" Titus looked at her slowly. "Belladonna, if you did not buy those clothes on credit, we would not be here." She broke down crying. The shame of December was following her like a shadow with long legs. A few days later, the landlord knocked. "Good afternoon. I am just reminding you that rent will be due soon." Belladonna screamed internally. Titus held his head. However, January continued stretching like a rubber band. The days felt long, like 62 days squeezed inside a 31-day month. Their neighbors were still cooking jollof, frying meat, eating fruits, laughing and gisting. Meanwhile, the Olorundas were practicing quietness ministry. One evening, as they all sat on the floor, Mimi asked something innocent but painful. "Mommy, will we drink Gari again this Christmas?" Belladonna swallowed her shame with saliva. "No, baby. Next Christmas, we will eat rice and chicken, Junior added. Mommy, next Christmas, please, no new clothes. Let us use our old clothes and eat food instead. That one finished her. Belladonna burst into hot tears, crying from shame, regret, and hunger mixed together. She crawled to Titus's feet, knelt, held his legs, and apologized. My husband, please forgive me. I allowed Christmas pressure to enter my head. I allowed pride to control me. I made us suffer. I didn't listen. I wanted people to talk good about me, but look at us. Nobody even remembered our clothes after Christmas. All the suffering was useless. Titus sighed deeply and lifted her up gently. Belladonna, I love you, but you need to understand that a family eats before it shines. If you hadn't experienced this firsthand, maybe you wouldn't still understand contentment and humility. Clothes cannot replace food. Life is not a fashion parade. We should manage what we have until God blesses us more. She nodded, still crying. I have learned my lesson, and the lesson beats me well. In February, when the paycheck finally arrived and they entered small peace, Belladonna folded the Christmas clothes and kept them aside. She purposely avoided them because whenever she opened that Ghana must go bag, she saw hunger, death, shame, and mistake. From that day onward, whenever a friend said, let's buy new clothes for Christmas, Belladonna would reply, my dear, it is better to eat rice and smile than to shine and drink garri. Her new motto became, clothes don't make Christmas, food and family does. When the next Christmas came, she didn't buy anything new. She ironed last year's clothes proudly, cooked jollof with chicken, fried plantain, bought drinks, and when Mama Dorcas shouted, Belladonna, where are the new clothes? She laughed peacefully. They are in the store. This year, we are shining in the stomach, not in the streets. That year, the Olorunda family had a peaceful, joyful, and shame-free Christmas because Belladonna had learned the lesson December taught her, which was that it is better to eat well and rest than to shine in suffering and pretend for people who will forget your clothes in 24 hours. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What lesson did you learn from the story? Kindly share the story out with your loved ones and give the story a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!